Hello and welcome to GameRules.com. My name is Mark, and today I'm going to teach you how to play UNO Quatro. What happens when you mix UNO with Connect 4? Let's find out. Out of the box, you will get an instruction booklet, a storage bag, an assortment of UNO Quatro tiles, and the game board. Now, the board does have a kickstand, which allows it to be stood up for play. But for the sake of this video, we are going to play with the board flat. To set up the game, place the game board in the center of the table. Place all of the tiles into the tile bag, give it a good shake, and then have each player draw 3 tiles from the bag. This will form your starting hand. You should not let your opponents see your hand. For this demonstration, I'm going to play with the tiles face up. There are 4 different color tiles: yellow, blue, red, and green. For people who are colorblind, there are symbols within the color oval to allow you to differentiate between the colors. So you would instead be matching symbols and numbers instead of colors and numbers. There are also action tiles. I will go over these action tiles here in a moment. The youngest player goes first, and the first turn is always the easiest. They choose 1 tile from their hand and place it in any of the trays on the board. For these first couple turns, we are going to ignore the action symbols on the tiles for the sake of the demonstration. They choose the blue 2, and they are going to put it right in the middle. To end your turn, you always draw back up to 3. Player 2 now goes, and there are a few rules governing tile placement from this point on. So for that second turn of the game, if they want to place a tile to the left of this blue 2, or to the right of this blue 2, or on top of it, they would have to match that tile's color or number. So their only option would be this red 2. They could place it to the left, to the right, or on top of. If player 2 wanted to play the yellow 1, for example, they would have to play it in a tray where it does not come into contact adjacently to a pre-existing tile. So they could put it in tray number 1, tray number 2, or any of the last 2 trays. So for this example, let's go ahead and have them place the red 2 on top of the blue 2. They draw back up to replenish their hand to 3 tiles. All right, now that is the beginning of the game. As the game progresses and more tiles get on the board, we will have to pay closer attention to the rules governing tile placement, as well as what the action tiles do. So let's go ahead and fast forward a bit to a board that is a little more full. So here we are, further along in the game. We're going to have player 1 take their turn, and now they have to think a little more about where they're going to place their tiles. So let's say they want to place this yellow 4. They can place it here because it is adjacent diagonally to a 4. They could place it, of course, on top of the 4, on top of this red 4, even though this tile is coming into contact with a red 2 and a blue 2, it's okay to play because it is coming into contact adjacently with at least 1 tile that matches color or number. So this is a safe play because it comes into contact with the green 4, the red 4, and the yellow 2. They could play this tile on top of the yellow 2 because it matches in color. They could play this tile to the right of the yellow 2 because it is matching in color. However, we could not play this yellow 4 here because there are no other yellows or 4s touching it. And of course, we cannot put it on top of the green 0. So you see there are some limitations in play as the game progresses. If a player is unable to play a tile on their turn, they may choose a tile to discard and draw a new one to replace it. If that tile that they drew can be played, they may do so. If not, their turn is over. Now let's go ahead and talk about the action tiles. So as I stated, there are 3 different action tiles. First, we have the -2. So let's go ahead and use this tile for their turn. We'll place it right here on top of the yellow 2. It is a -2 tile, and that allows them to choose 2 tiles from their opponent's hand and then place those tiles back in the bag. So of course, you wouldn't know which 2 tiles you're picking. So let's just pick these 2. They go into the bag and then on their next turn, they will draw back up to 3. They played their tile. Let's end their turn with a draw. Now, this next player gets to go. They start their turn by drawing back up to 3 tiles. All right, let's talk about the next action. So for player 1's next turn, they're going to play a swap tile. And they're going to put this tile right here. Now, what the swap tile allows a player to do is to choose any 2 trays from the board, pull them out, and switch their positions. So they're going to go ahead and swap out this tray with this tray. And that would end their turn. They'll draw back up to 3 and play passes to the next player. There is one more action tile to discuss, and that is the push tile. When a push tile is played, the player will push the bottommost tile out of the tray. That tile is then removed from the board and placed back in the bag. Play like that will continue until one player completes a 4 in a row. A 4 in a row can be 4 of a matching color, or it can be 4 of a matching number, and those 4 in a rows can be up and down, they can be left and right, or the 4 in a row could be diagonal. The first player to complete that 4 in a row wins the game. And that's how you play UNO Quatro. I think the combination of the UNO deck structure with the win condition of Connect 4 makes for a very interesting game. And the modular board, being able to swap trays, I think also adds a lot to the overall strategy. With the way this game is set up, you don't necessarily want to just go straight for that Connect 4, because if you put in a piece that creates a string of 3, you are possibly handing an opponent the win. If they've got the right number or the right color, they're going to complete that 4 in a row and they're going to win the game. So there takes some planning, there takes some sneaky action, especially if you can swap trays or push tiles out. And overall, I think this is a winner. Thank you so much for watching. If you'd like to see more board game tutorials, I have a playlist for you right here. If you'd like to support the channel, be sure to subscribe, ring the bell, give the video a thumbs up, especially if you found it helpful. If you'd really like to help us out, leave a comment down below. All these things really do help the channel. Thank you so much for watching, and until next time, keep on playing.